she'll come and talk to you.
What other questions, Kathy?
Yeah, another question for John. When you said you were doing those town hall meetings,
Right.
and the people just didn't want anything to do with recycling and the...
Oh, government control.
With what?
Government control.
Yeah, I just don't understand what the model is.
It's
And what the model was?
What the problem?
what the problem was.
Well,
Opposition.
I mean, I could.
Is it money? Is
Well,
it just don't
one of the haulers sent a 6 points that said what we were doing and how bad it was, and that stirred a lot of people up, even though the majority of them were true. And so that was one thing. So people were predisposed. It's just, you know, kind of an anti-government feel right now. We even had a questionnaire, and it said if you can have your waste done cheaper this way than some other way, would you do it? And most of them said no.
A lot of people are tied to, and we see this in New England. I don't know if it's a New England thing, if anybody's from there originally, but I'll travel up there and walk to a transfer station, and it's going to Starbucks every morning for these people. So it's a walking convenience center. It's what they do every morning, and they take. These are some of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the country, with $2 million homes lining the coast of Cape Cod, and they don't have curbside recycling. They've said no to it for years and years and years. But that's because they're, you know, they love the communal chat they have every morning, I guess. But it's an interesting discussion to have. So bottom line is you got to have the other people in the room.
That was the thing. That was the other thing. Was some people that were intimidated by the majority of the people that, you know, asked questions or made statements. That was the majority of them. Were pretty emotional, and the folks that felt the other way were kind of intimidated, and they would email us after the fact, say, "Well, I didn't want to stand up and say anything, but this is how I feel." So, you know, I don't know if I got a good representation. I don't know what. I really don't know.
I would say in Hanover County, CFEDC is a model for inefficiency and consolidation of government power. So there's a black eye there that's leading us forward.
Well, for that, to answer your question, like we had the same problem in Onslow County where we tried to do county, you know, outside the incorporated areas, curbside recycling and trash, but we had 8 private haulers that had been hauling all around the county for a gazillions of years, and so you have to put 7 companies out of business, which is not very popular for government. But it worked out a little bit because we still have those 8 private haulers, and they're still offering the citizens a curbside service. It's just not involving the government. You know, so we have our drop sites and we have curbside, but you have to contract with 1 of 8 different haulers, so you can shop around and get the right price. So
You've got to let. It's a tricky. You have to let the open market sort of take care of itself at the same time as collectively pushing everybody into, hey, we're running out of landfill space, or whatever the impetus is to sort of move in a direction together with letting the open market take care of it as well. So it's always a regional discussion.
I mean, we were open to suggestions too. I mean, we had a lot of small haulers, several represented right here, and you know. We didn't want to, you were participant. But anyway, and I can understand their angst, but you know, but there was, we were wanting to have any suggestions. That's what the meetings were all about, suggestions.
But at that time, only the alternative of a government-run hauling option was given. It wasn't. No.
I was there, and the small trash haulers were the most vocal because they were afraid they were going to go out of business.
It's called flow control.
Yeah, they didn't want the big trash haulers like Waste Industries and Waste Management to come in and take over their fiefdoms.
Sure.
So that was, and they were so vocal, it intimidated me. I didn't speak that time because, you know, the whole, as John said, the whole crowd was anti curbside recycling, and a few people, I think 2 or 3 people stood up and spoke for it. But,
I could send you links to town hall meetings around the country that would make your hair stand up on end. It's pretty amazing. And this is, the school board will be doing something, to me, with 2 little kids in the public school system. They'll be doing something pretty humongous, right? But nobody has showed up yet until it's time to talk about the trash. And then it's just packed, and the screaming and the yelling begins, and you just sort of, you pull back, and you've got to have the right people in those sorts of meetings. Not the right people, but just the balance. Because they're not, the ones that were doing the most shouting may or may not have been opposed or for. It was just something coming down the line that they might not have had as much control over. So the little haulers are always afraid of what's called flow control, which means a county, cities, group of counties gets together and says, I think we've all gotten this by this point, but they're going to say, hey, all right, we're going to have one person, all of you bid, and we're going to take the cheapest, almost always. They have to take the cheapest bid. These big giant guys, we need them, right? But they can just do a 5-year lose money option, or it's a 20-year contract. They're always pretty big contracts. They'll lose money for the first 5 years just to get the rest of the 20-year contract business, so the little guys can't compete. And that's where it gets lopsided sometimes. But again, we have to talk to them, and they implement some of the best garbage reduction programs in the country are implemented by these same big companies. It's all about, is there money for them in the recycling end of it? So, or on the...
By the way, just for your information, we're going from 3 major haulers to 2 as of April 1st in Hanover County. I didn't know if anybody knew about that. Waste Industries and Republic are consolidating their assets. So Waste Industries taking over Republic as A1 Sanitation. Their customers there in Hanover County, the reciprocal is down in Charleston County, where it's the other way around. So,
what's going to happen to waste management?
it's a pretty strong company. I mean, I don't know what you mean.
Well, I mean, they're not going to be in the they're not going to be collecting trash because they're everywhere.
No, waste, it doesn't happen in waste management. It's just that all the Republic's customers are going to be taken over by Waste Industries.
Oh, by waste industries?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. I misunderstood you.
It's always going on.
So there's going to be waste management, waste
Industries.
Republic.
No, Waste Management, Waste Industries, that's it.
Oh, there's two.
There's 2, then the smaller ones that are still working.
Any final questions? Ian?
Last you were talking about, WasteZero doesn't necessitate, there's this conversation about how centralized recycling should be or how independent it should be, but a system such as you described doesn't require that things be centralized, or that there be one hauler. It's just a separate thing, right? This is a different question.
Absolutely,
right?
no, 2 totally different discussions. Yeah, most likely nothing changes. Nothing changes to the resident except one thing, meaning the same people, the city or a private hauler is still coming by and doing what they've been doing. Nothing in that method. No, we don't have those. We're way under the radar when it comes to that stuff. What the scenes.
One thing that we're doing at our company, when we go into a commercial restaurant that doesn't have cardboard, we will try to get their trash and the cardboard in their same budget. So they see not an increase in their trash bill. And the reason why commercials don't recycle is because they don't pay for it. So we're doing everything we can in our company to recycle, to push it. So we try to get in their budget, their trash, and the recycling, so they love it.
Right.
So that's the reason why our recycling has gone way up, our cardboard recycling.
It's a great point. Yeah, they just don't want to have to pay the extra expense. But there's some good models around. Some of these big companies are getting revenue for. It might take them a year to fill up a 55-gallon drum of NiCad rechargeable batteries, but they do it, and it just sits in the corner, and then they sell it to somebody. But, so,
Stacey, do you have a final question? Okay.
Sorry.
Anybody else, or it's time to adjourn? We can discuss it individually too.
John, what did you say the source of rated tonnage is coming through waste tech facility? Recycling?
Our recycling and environmental management, 5,000
per year?
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you for coming, and feel free to stick around. And again, thanks a lot. Next meeting is what? It's May 3rd, 4th, Tuesday in May?
Fourth Tuesday.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody, for being here.